Welcome to Compas on the Beat. It's our betting show, game week with the Compas, and we've arrived to NFL Week 14. And man, I'm feeling confident. I had a great week in terms of NFL betting on Thanksgiving weekend or Thanksgiving week. There's a bunch of games the whole week from Thursday to Friday to Sunday. I pretty much nailed all the picks. I almost went perfect on our pick'ems challenge here for the betting show. I even did great on the Compas on the Beat pick'ems challenge. So I'm gonna keep patting myself on the back, take victory laps here because that's what you do, right? When you have a betting show, you gotta show your wins and never talk about your losses. No, just kidding. We talk about our losses here. The one loss that I had, though, those freaking Browns failing me against the 49ers, probably a dumb bit, anyways, to bet on the Browns. But, anyways, I did say I'm going to take all the dogs and the points in the holiday slate. I took the Packers outright. They won. I took the Cowboys in the points. They covered. I took the Bengals in the points. They covered. I took the Bears in the points and they covered, and they were my super dog, won me outright, and I'm back on top there. So we'll have Victor to join us in a bit. But real quick, something that I learned from John Murray, the odds maker at the Westgate Superbook in Las Vegas, and to me, that is one of the best sports books in the whole country, not just Las Vegas. Check out the Westgate if you're ever in Las Vegas. And I was talking to John Murray, and I'm like, okay, what's the pros and Joes game this week? Pros being, the sharps, and the Joes being the public. And he told me that the for that game, the public is on the Bears, and this is rare because when it comes to pros and Joes games, usually the pros are on the underdog. So the public likes the Bears, and I thought people thought the Bears were frauds, pretenders. Caleb Williams is not good, but people are putting their money on the line for the Bears. But the sharps, they're batting or betting the Packers here, and the Packers have kind of turned around their narrative because for a while they weren't covering as big favorites, and here they are again as a big favorite. And I think they haven't actually covered this season as a 6.5 point favorite. They did have that weird game against the Giants where they had a push for 7 points there. I won't count that at all. So they might still be winless. So hey, maybe the public is seeing that the Packers can't cover when they were laying a touchdown. The Packers did win as a dog the first time all year against Detroit. They're red hot right now. So to me, I thought it was an interesting nugget that an underdog, not a dog, a bear is being supported right now by the public. So with that being said, let's get the show started here. Victor Javier Corona, how you doing, sir?
Doing good. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised by that, by the public being in on the Bears, and I'm not gonna lie, I really like them this week, and I think part of it too, Gilbert, is the fact that, and we'll get to this comment here by Brian. I wanna get yeah, leave your comments here. We are now starting to do the lives for this betting show, just because we want to get a little bit more interaction from people, and it's easier for me to cut some of these videos. So that's also why we're doing this, Gilbert. But in terms of the betting market here for the Bears and why the public loves them, I'm kind of with the public here. I do like the Bears in this game against the Packers. I don't, I'm tired of one of the discussions we had yesterday on Compas on the Beat between you and I was like, I'm tired of saying, you know what, these teams are gonna fall out, right? Like the Patriots, the Broncos, the Bears. There's a reason why they're in first place. I get it. They've had a cupcake schedule, all that, but they keep winning. They beat the defending champions last week, like one more, and I get it. Like we start making excuses for the other team why they didn't play well, why they lost, and I'm just like, and the other thing too, like if we're talking here just betting wise, Gilbert, maybe they don't win this game, but they've been like one possession games where they won. Even if they lose this game, it'll probably be a one possession game, Gilbert. So I'm with the public here.
Yeah, my only concern with this being a rare underdog that's getting support and the sharps are going on the heavy favorite. Again, you don't really see that. It's usually the other way around. Is that the Bears have a pretty big fan base, throughout the country,
Yep.
and maybe they've just been quiet because they haven't been winning, and it's not like, they're not like, very aggressive like the Raiders. When the Raiders suck, they're still like
And the
somehow, yeah,
Cowboys.
we suck and pay attention to us.
Mhm.
And with the Bears, it doesn't really seem that way. But now that they're winning, they're chirping, they're talking, and you could tell they've been waiting for years to get this. So that's my only hesitancy there with that. But before I give you more information, I
Yeah.
just wanted to clarify, yeah, that's maybe could be something part of it. Also, the Packers haven't covered this type of spread before all season, even though they just beat the Lions. That was a different spot. They were a dog. They were on the road. They needed that victory there for several reasons. So not to be a heavy favorite again, to me, they haven't proven anything when it comes to that. So, I see why you like them, and the public are they do too. I do like them too, but we're gonna get into it right now
Yep.
because there's a reason why I'm a little hesitant on this game.
Yeah, and let me just get to the comments here from Brian. Shout out to Brian. He's a really good supporter of our network here, whether it's here on Combas on the Beat or on House of Horns. So shout out to Brian here. And he says Bears are playing a last place schedule. They are toast. And then one more thing here. Bears are at the Packers. If Chicago wins, I'd be more convinced they're for real.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just for me it's like and let's get to it. This is the main event game of the week. Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are 6.5 point favorite. The over under here is 44.5. And Gilbert, like I said, like we just keep putting like parameters or checklists on these teams, and it's eventually you have to get there. So I want to know what's the narrative, or let's start off with what are the numbers saying, and then we'll get to the narrative coming out of this game.
Yeah, this is what I like about betting. It's like I don't care if you're a pretender or a fraud or if you're a has-been team that's getting old and you're living off your past. Like I care about the number. Like I need to know what's a good number here. And that's kind of maybe I suck with my outright picks because I do kind of have some of that idea in my head, like, oh, that team's a fraud or that team is better. But when it comes to numbers, I pay attention to that more, and that tends to keep me steady or at least 500 when it comes to betting, and that's not a bad place to be in. But at first, I was like, I like the Packers. I'm like, when it was minus 5.5. I'm like, the Bears are a little, they're not ready for this moment. I feel like after what the Packers did to Detroit in Detroit, the way Jordan Love play, Jordan Love doesn't need my points, but like he gained a lot of points in my book, and I was writing good things about him at SI.com, and I could see this team now going far. Now that you have Jordan Love on track, good defense, good running game. We'll see about the coaching. I still have my concerns with LaFleur, but they're doing well. The thing about this now, the sharps pounded this line so much that now it's minus 6.5, and I can't get behind that. I don't like the number here for Green Bay. It was below that. Even 5.5 to me, it's just the way I bet. I don't like to lay that many points in an NFL game. So definitely not 6.5. You kind of had me at 5.5 because there's just sometimes the team is just better than you. But I'm gonna take the number here. I'll take the Bears at plus 6.5. That's a touchdown pretty much to me. So I don't think they're gonna win this game. I forget what we picked for the challenge. It was one lone wolf. I think it was
Yeah,
Dan. Actually.
I'm the lone wolf there,
Oh,
and
you
I
are
think
okay. So
part of
you
it too.
definitely like the Bears.
Yeah,
I just don't think they're ready for this moment here. I'm not saying they're frauds. I like their resume. I like what I saw last week. They could run the football. There's a lot to like here. I just think the Packers are doing it better, and they got the quarterback play. I don't think Caleb Williams has been playing well, but to his credit, he's letting Ben Johnson scheme around him. He's allowing himself to play within the guardrails, and there's no shame in that. You're still learning football. You are a winning team right now. You don't want to put your ego first and say, well, I'm the number one pick. I'm going to show off my skill set. And he's saying, no, like I'll protect the football. I'm not going to, he's not operating as quickly as I would like. He's still missing throws, but Jordan Love's not doing that right now. So to me, I think the Packers are going to win this game, but I just don't like the minus 6.5. So I'll take the Bears to cover here. Potentially, I kind of want it to stay away, but I like the number for plus 6.5 for the Bears.
yeah, and I'll keep this quick in terms of the narrative, and you talked about it. I think a lot of people are gonna jump on the Packers for that reason. They were a Super Bowl contender coming into the season, and then they went through that low in the middle of the season, right? And then you're coming out of that Thanksgiving game where I'm not even sure what to make of the Lions at this point. So I don't know how big that win is.
Yeah.
And then you look at a Bears team who we keep saying, well, eventually they're just gonna fall off, right? And then go into the Philadelphia Eagles and they beat them. I get it. The Broncos did the same thing. That's another team. Like, we keep putting things on the Bears, the Broncos, the Patriots, all these teams that are in first place. And eventually you just got to say, you know what? They are what they are, right? We know that the Bears defense isn't as good as they should be. Their turnover rate is way higher in wins, right? But I think the most impressive thing, as you talked about, Caleb Williams hasn't been impressive, right? That run game, the ability of Ben Johnson to be able to fix that run game. The
Mhm.
run game is gonna travel on the road. And so if you can, and one of the impressive things that I just came out of that game against the Eagles was the fact that they chewed up so much clock that by the end of it, Gilbert, it just seemed like the Bears did what the Eagles like to do to the other teams, and I was just like, that's impressive. If you're able to do what the Eagles like to do to them, to me, I came away like, okay, I'm a believer. If you're able to run, if you're able to take those two running backs, like, everybody was ready to give up on DeAndre Swift, and now you add a guy like Monangai to that rotation. I just think that they found something here and they've been able to win with it, Gilbert.
Yeah, I thought that running game was really awesome, and credit to Ben Johnson for just saying, "Yeah, screw it, I was gonna kill the clock and keep it safe here." And because the moments that Caleb Williams had in the first 3 quarters were not good, and usually when you have a balanced attack like that, you're gonna set up your deep shot, right? Like Ben Johnson's such a creative mind. He's like, he probably was trying to contain himself, like, no, don't go for the shot. This is working. I know this is a
Mhm.
territory where we go big play hunting right here because the running game is so balanced right now. And Caleb Williams got in trouble a couple of times, but to his credit, that fourth quarter he finally took advantage of the balance and he hit, I think, Cole Kmet and a touchdown play. There was a few other big plays in the fourth quarter to put away the Eagles, because the Eagles were kind of hanging around for a bit too. So credit to him. I just feel like with a different team, and maybe he gets in trouble for not taking advantage of the running game, because you can't just play that conservative. There's going to be a team that, for the Eagles, they're probably looking at themselves in the mirror all week like, damn, like, we got destroyed. We got pants in front of that national audience here. So I still think the Philly defense is that good, but I think maybe the Packers are better because they have a game changer like Micah Parsons. You have a good DC and Jeff Hadley. So we'll see. Say it's the same kind of format of what happened a week ago. Does Caleb Williams not making mistakes early on going to really kill this team, or does he actually step up? Earlier in the game where Ben Johnson's saying, "Cool, let me go into my playbook here. Let's have something here." So I think he's really the big key here.
Yeah, I'm with you. And there's people that are like Brian. He agrees with you. He says, "Agreed, Gilbert. The Bears aren't going far with Caleb passing for 180
Yeah.
yards." So, and then Delbert, he's like, "Bears dreams coming down with the Packers twice, Lions and 49ers
Ooh,
coming up." So we're gonna
that's
find
true.
out a lot about these teams. And even he Jorge says, "I'm a believer." So Shrek song
I'm a
plays there, and then
believer. I like the song.
and then Angel's asking Gilberto, AJ Brown or Christian Watson this week.
I love it. I know we kind of went away from fantasy football on the channel, but yeah, the betting show is perfect for that. I like Christian Watson. I think you have AJ Brown, Vic, but I'll say this: I just think that AJ Brown has been on lock lately, but they haven't been winning games. I bet they go the other way now and play dirty football and just kind of just run the football with Saquon. So I rather go Christian Watson here.
Yeah, I'd probably go AJ Brown. I know I have him, but at the same time, the other thing too is that it's going to be an indoors game. But I don't think it seems like they like going to AJ Brown now the last couple of weeks, even though it hasn't worked out. But I could see a big game from Saquon against the Chargers, which we'll get into.
Hmm.
Last thing here from Gerardo Leon, he says the Bears and Broncos are frauds. So people are still not believers. So
Yeah, I,
but
I get it, Gerardo. It takes a while to believe in this team, and even I have my reservations, but I'm starting to give them some credit. I get it though.
all right, let's move on here to our co-main event. We have the Dallas Cowboys at the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 3-point favorites. The over/under is 54 and a half. Gilbert, what are the numbers saying here? Talking to the sports book people.
Yeah. So there's really no sharp play here, and that kind of tells me a lot. But the people don't like the Lions at all right now, which is understandable. And two, the public is back on the Cowboys bandwagon. Make some room, Fernando, because you're not the only one supporting in Dallas, and a lot of people are pouring money into the Cowboys. So to me, when I hear stuff like that, we're like, it's all public money. I know there's no sharp play. Sometimes you got to decide for yourself. You can't just follow the sharps. You can't be a sheep. So I will go with Detroit here. I think they're at home. They're desperate. They need this game more here. I like Dallas, you know, to an extent, I've kind of been I've been waiting for them to pick it up, and you know, but I feel like to rip off 3 victories like this, you played Kansas City, you play Philly, Detroit's not a slouch. I know they're struggling right now, but I think they're going to be better. I think they're going to be in desperation mode, and honestly, both of them should be because they are both outside the NFC playoff picture. But something feels like the Cowboys are just feeling themselves too much, but they don't have that pressure, or maybe playing loose and free as a road team might be good for them. But it's a tough one regardless. I just don't like that everybody's on the Cowboys bandwagon and they're a public play. That kind of smells a little fishy, a little stinky to me. So for that being said, I'll take Detroit -3 and Detroit to win.
Yeah, I'm with you on Detroit here. And it's not, I think part of it too is that the Cowboys, those two big wins, both came at home. They were able to beat a Chiefs team that I'm not a big believer in. I felt like let you could expose that defense, especially with Spags being able to blitz and having Dak. I think in this game, the thing that kind of, I don't know if you looked at these numbers at all when the week started, Gilbert, but that over under keeps going up. And you know how we are. We're like, if that number keeps going up, bet the under here. I'm taking the under here at 54 and a half. But I'm with you. I like the Lions in this game. They need this game badly. And I get it. I get it that people are done with Dan Campbell and him going for it on fourth down. But look, if we praised him when he was going for it and we gave him all the love, we can hate on him for going for it now. So they're gonna go down, with the ship going for it on fourth down. So they need this win because I just feels like if they don't win, Gilbert, this game, it feels like they're not making the playoffs. And
Yeah, loser might
this
be
is
out.
such a, like, it feels like a playoff game, which is
Yeah.
weird for these two teams right now.
Yeah, and we've been talking about like the Chargers' magic number. Like in the NFC, I think it's higher. So the loser of this game, I think it's definitely time to fork them. They won't be making the playoffs. But to what you said on the over under, I know we were wrong on the Chiefs and the Cowboys. That was definitely an over. But I do like the under here because, like you mentioned, Dan Campbell hasn't changed his spots, and if he keeps going for these fourth downs and missing points and coughing up points. And I know this because I've been playing Jake Bates in fantasy. I've been pissed off because he doesn't give me the fantasy points for the field goals. He's leaving points on the field. So with
Oh
that,
yeah.
I'd rather go under, and it's a really high number. But I really hope that Campbell, and again, I've been praising him when it was working a few years ago. But to me, it's like sometimes you just got to get a pulse of the game or get a feel for like you're like it's not working right now, and it's not even just like an overall season thing. It's like the Philly game. Everything is different. The Philly game felt like a game that's going to be 12-9, get all the points you could get, and he refused to do it. And so to him, that's his flaw. Is never really changing it, regardless of the game flow, regardless of the opponent, regardless of the weather or setting, whatever. He doesn't change. Maybe that's good to be consistent, but to me, that's a red flag. But I think this game, though, he's still a good coach. I think it's still a good team. They'll figure it out. But I do wonder, say, because Dallas defense has been better. Say the Dallas defense steps up, they stop him like in the red zone. Is he just gonna keep going for it and then miss out on points? Like it's gonna be. I think it's gonna show up a couple times to see what he does.
Yeah, and I want to see what happens there because you know, does he finally say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to listen," or does he just, continue to be hard-headed about it and be like, "Look, this is what got us here. We're just going to continue to go for it." So, eventually something's going to have to happen or else, I don't think he loses his job, but I think
No.
eventually somebody's gonna tell them like, "Hey, you can't continue to do that and expect to win." So, before we move on, let me get to this comment here from Delbert says Dallas has found their momentum. They're scary. I'll take the Cowboys reluctantly right here. So there
Okay.
you go.
All right.
So
Taking
we
Dallas.
have Delbert going with the Cowboys there. I'll get to Angels. Actually, Angels has one more fantasy question: streaming QB Tyrod or Tyler Shug?
You're struggling, Angel. I know Chuck is playing the Buccaneers. Tyrod's playing the Dolphins. I like what I saw from Tyrod a week ago, so I'd rather go with Tyrod or Tyrod. But this is a struggle.
Tyrod.
Waiver wire pick here for you, Angel.
Yeah, it's Tarot. Yep, I'm with you there. All right, I have a wild card here, game of the week again, and it's the Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 3.5 point favorites here. The over under is 41.5, Gilbert. And the reason I wanted to talk about this game is because the also the over under keeps going down. I think it started at 44.5. It's gone down to 41.5. And that line, I just want to know, how is it that the Chiefs are 3.5 point favorites when you look at I'm not talking about the line that's 3.5. I'm talking about the Chiefs offensive line. It seems like three of their dudes are going to be out in this game.
Yeah.
Going up against that tough Texans defense. What are the numbers saying here, and where are you at with this game?
Yeah, when you lay it out like that, Vic, it feels like easy money. And whenever it feels like easy money, you got to stop and figure out what are we missing here?
Yeah,
What's the red flag? And honestly, I think it is easy money. I think it's the odds makers trying to squeeze one more game out of the Chiefs being still being the Chiefs, being desperate. They're at home, prime time spot. Uh yeah, those Chiefs are fouled, those Perros are ass. There you go, Jorge. I think it's just the odds makers trying to bait more like people like, "Hey, yeah, they should be the favorite, right? Like why would it not why would the team that has a bunch of good players defensively, why would they be the favorite? Like it's a little bit of a mind game to me. And this one I knew that I was on to something. And I'm not saying it's gonna be totally easy, but again, John Murray, the odds maker at the Westgate Superbook. Check out my SI column when it drops on Thursday for the betting story that I do every once a week. He said it was two-way action. I'm like, cool, that's perfect. Nobody really knows what to expect here. People are not really taking the bait on the Chiefs being the favorite. This game should probably be -3. Sure, give the Chiefs respect for being at home, but going over the field goal line, I don't like it here. I could definitely see Houston winning outright because of what you mentioned. They have a great front. I think eventually Will Anderson Jr. is going to win a Defensive Player of the Year award. I don't know if it would be this year. That's probably Myles
no,
Garrett's baby already. But eventually he's going to take over as the best edge rusher in the NFL. He's that good, and he has Danielle Hunter next to him who's still balling even at age 31. And you got a mastermind defensively in the Miko Ryans. And I know CJ Stroud's been struggling, and it wasn't the prettiest game for his return, but he was better than Davis Mills, and that's a start. And he was spreading the ball around, finally getting Jaden Higgins involved. Dalton Schultz was involved. Obviously, anybody could get Nico Collins involved. He's that good. And then Woody Marks providing enough balance has been helping him out offensively. So that's the key right there. Say maybe it is a down day for Houston's defense because they are facing Patrick Mahomes. Can you score points offensively? And I think Houston can. So with that, I will take Houston. I won't even think about it twice. Give me the points and even outright victory for Houston.
yeah, I'm with you there. The only thing I'll add is that I was trying to remember the defensive tackle that once he came back, it felt like that defense kind of took over. He's one of those guys that blocks and he was a former Raider, and I can't believe I'm blanking on his name right now. But he blocks field goals, he blocks PATs. But ever since he's been back, that defense just took off. And then with CJ Stroud, uh, just seeing him out there, I that first quarter it took him a little bit to get going. And you could tell he was a little he still needed to get his legs under him. And then like I think it was a third or fourth quarter, he just took off against the Colts, and it was good to see he was putting the ball out there. That offensive line as well has gotten better. And they've been running the ball more effectively. So I'm with you. I like the Texans in this game as well. I just don't see how the Chiefs stay in this game as well. And then to Gerardo Leon's comment, he says no excuses for Pat Mahomes. for having an injured O line. If he doesn't play well, because Herbert had an
Yeah.
injured O line, you have to make it work, and that's just the way it is. And I'm with it too. Like we saw last week too with Josh Allen, he was missing both of his tackles, and they still won. So I'm with Gerardo there. You can't make any excuses that you're missing guys on the team. You just got to find a way to win games right now.
Yeah, I think you were talking about Mario Edwards Jr. For the Houston. He was a tackle, or unless you were talking about Sheldon Rankings, but I know you were trying to find a name there.
Yeah,
But yeah, but the last thing I'll say here on the Chiefs, and this goes back to our Eric D. Williams interview,
yeah.
and he reminded me like, yeah, I know I was trying to find like the last dominant defense to win a Super Bowl, but he was like the Chiefs when they won their Super Bowl recently, like that was more defense than Patrick Mahomes, and Mahomes kind of takes the credit for it, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. But it also reminded me the Chiefs defense is not as good as those years. And then the Mahomes offense is still very inconsistent, very sluggish. And all they have is here is Rashee Rice. Go help us out. Get a first down, Rashee Rice. What is Worthy done? What is Hollywood Brown done? And they're still needing more contributions from an old Kelsey, which kind of tells me everything. People are not stepping up in that offense. And, you know, we should definitely give some criticism to Mahomes for not raising the play of everybody on that team. So yeah, like the offense is not that great. It's a one trick pony. It's Rashee Rice, passes for 5 yards and move the chains, and the defense is good, but they're not lights out. They're not Houston. So to me, what does the Kansas City really have? Desperation and being at home and a reputation. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and the name was Danico Autry.
Ah, that's right.
That's who it was. Yeah. So ever since he came back, that defense has just been playing lights out. I think he came back against the Broncos. That was the game that he came back against. I remember because I watched that whole game and it was just impressive to see both of those. And then that was the game that CJ Stroud got hurt in and with the concussion. Um, so yeah. All right, Gilbert. Let's get to the LA betting market. We'll start off with the Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. The Rams are 8-point favorites. The over under here is 47.5. What are the numbers saying here? And I think the Rams are 8-4 against the spread this season now after their loss to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, since we're on live here, promo to our House of Horns guests. We're gonna break down this game in a bit when we're done here. Cardinals Rams. I don't know how we're gonna fill time with this game because the Cardinals are boring, and maybe you could talk about how I overrated them in the offseason, and now
Mhm.
I'm looking like a fool. But yeah, the Cardinals are just not a good team. I get the number here. It probably would have been over 10 if the Rams didn't lose to the Panthers a week ago. So there could be some danger here because Jacoby Brissett has actually been on fire, and the Rams secondary came back down to earth last week. We'll see if MHJ is going to play, but Michael Wilson stepped up when he was out. Greg Dortch stepped up. They still got Trey McBride. Like Brissett has been that good to the point where like don't bring back Kyler Murray, and then if you don't want to draft the quarterback, make him your bridge guy for a year. Like he's been that good. The coaches, I don't know if the coaches is going to make it this year, but they finally found something with him. So now, with that being said, I still think the Rams are going to hold it down here. They're going to be pissed off. Divisional matchup. Like, again, everything's in front of the Rams for the taking. They kind of blew it last week and they fell a step back, and I still think it's going to hurt them at the end of the day. But you can't lose a divisional game. You can't lose to another NFC team. It's all about tiebreakers this time of year when you're in the position that you're in for the Rams. So go destroy this team. Be pissed off. Go get a divisional matchup. Improve your record to I think 3-1. They lost to the 49ers. So I'll take the Rams here. I'll lay the point. That's a lot of points. I got burned last week. You did not. You said it's gonna be close. So yeah, I don't know what you're thinking. We're here for this one, Vic, but the Cardinals are just out of it.
The only thing I can think of here, Gilbert, is the fact that the Cardinals blew out the Rams in Arizona last week. It was like the second game of the year,
Yeah,
and
last year.
yeah, last year, right? And so that was with, that was with Kyler Murray, and that was with other guys there, and at the beginning of the season. So that's the only thing that I can tell you. Well, maybe this game stays close. I just don't see it. Um, and one of the little tidbits, talking about kind of promoting the interview that we had with Eric Williams on Compas on the Beat yesterday. He talked about the fact that one of the things with Sean McVay and how prepared he has this team is the fact that they don't get blown out. Like, they're in every game, right? And so that is one of the things that I've seen from this team this year is like when they step on them, they make sure that they blow them out. Now, last week was, it was a bunch of different things. You can make excuses. You can have uh Matthew Stafford throwing the ball away and having a pick six and stuff like that. And it was a close game. They had a chance to tie it and perhaps win it down the stretch there. So we know that they're going to be around. I just don't see it this week. I feel like Arizona has pretty much, they packed it in. I thought maybe once they went to Brissett that they were gonna, you know, give Jonathan Gannon a fighting chance, kind of like what we see with Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. But ever since the whole thing with the Mercado, it just feels like this team just was done with Jonathan Gannon, and now they're just playing out the rest of the schedule. So I'm with you. I'm taking the Cardinals here, and give me the points here as well. I think it might be one of those blowouts where I one thing that I know from Sean McVay is he remembers those blowout losses. I
Yeah.
would not be surprised if he returns a favor here.
That was a rare blowout loss, like you mentioned, and
Yeah,
last thing, like Brissett's quarterback play has been so much better than Kyler Murray, and they're still losing games. So this team
yeah,
has no hope here.
yeah, and that's the thing. And Jorge, we have not talked about the Chargers yet, and guess what? That is where we're going next. With our LA betting market game here. We're going to Los Angeles here. We're staying here in Los Angeles, I should say. The Philadelphia Eagles travel to the Chargers here. The Eagles are 3-point favorites. The over under here is 40 and a half. Gilbert, what are the numbers saying in this matchup? I'm gonna be completely honest with you here. I am surprised this line isn't bigger than that because we don't know if Herbert is playing. So I want to know why that line is only 3.
Yeah, I don't know if again, John Murray, the odds maker for the Westgate, was trying to tell me something that he knew that the public doesn't know, because usually the odds makers kind of have some more insight. They prepare. They also shift the line just in case something happens. They like to be ahead of it. So I think this line is more reflective of Trey Lance probably playing or Justin Herbert not being 100%. So that's why they are +3. But which tells me like Philadelphia probably might have been the dog here if Herbert was healthy. Like so people are losing faith in Philadelphia. It's just a thing to me. Is like John kept saying it seems like Trey Lance is going to play. Trey Lance, and then all you hear from the Chargers is like, no, Herbert's going to try his best to play. Herbert's going to try his best to play. So like, I'm just gonna put it out there. Don't be shocked if they do a switch come Saturday, saying no, they're gonna play it safe. They'd rather go with Trey Lance, and it happens a lot, especially for Monday night games. Like, and it's a competitive advantage. Like, you don't want to say what you're really thinking until Philly. Yeah, we're gonna go with Trey Lance the whole week. Like, no, make them think it's a good shot for Herbert. Herbert spoke to the media. Harbaugh saying everything. So I could be wrong, but I'm starting to get the sense that we might see Trey Lance out there on Monday. The odds makers are protecting themselves by going +3. Chargers, a home team against an Eagles team that's out of sorts offensively. They just got destroyed against the run, and I know there's no maybe there'll be Omar Hampton. I don't know yet, but they ran the football pretty well a week ago, regardless. So this probably could have been a pick'em game. Maybe Chargers -3 or -2.5 if Herbert was healthy, but I'm getting a sense that he's not really that healthy, and they might protect him to give him 1 week to get his hand adjusted. But he's a gamer. He's tough, so I could definitely could be wrong on my hunch here or my guess here. But why would it be so wrong to play Trey Lance either? Like, run the damn football. You just saw what the Bears did to Philly here. He's a little more. He's mobile, or actually more mobile than Herbert. I know Herbert is mobile himself, but just get a bunch of play action and run and put a bunch of hands off here for the running back committee here. So if Herbert is healthy enough to play, like, are you gonna put him out there or risk more injury against a very good front, against a very good, Eagles defense? And I think there could be limitations to playing under center with that hand, or even shotgun, just trying to catch a football, like have it in your hand to give it to another player. Maybe there's a guy coming off, your whatever side. You have to move the ball to a different hand to kind of protect the ball. It's just like people are making it seem like it's not a big deal. Maybe it's not as bad as Daniel Jones with the broken leg or fractured leg, but it's gonna be limitations, which makes me feel like they might just say, "F it, let's go Trey Lance here." That's kind of be my bold prediction there, but uh, I'm gonna take the Eagles. I know people are gonna boo me here for that one, but I'll take the Eagles here. They're also, you know, they are also desperate. I think they need one. They are on a 2-game losing streak. I think this team is better than what they've shown. I think the defense maybe was just bad for 1 week. Maybe they got caught off guard. So I know Philly right now is laying the points as a road favorite here, but I'll take the Eagles here.
Yeah, and I think part of it too, Gilbert, is that the Chargers are feeling good about themselves, having been the Raiders, but most teams feel that way when you beat up on on the Raiders team. I mean, we've seen it from the
Yeah.
Cowboys lately. We saw it from the Broncos. But I think the narrative here is the fact that everybody's kind of jumping, out of out from the Eagles bandwagon, which is kind of surprising. I get it, like their fan base is super, volatile where if things are bad, things are really bad, and you've seen it where Kevin Patullo and that offense has been terrible. And I get it, they haven't been able to run the ball with Saquon Barkley, and as you mentioned, like then they start trying to get the ball to AJ Brown, and they've lost now 2 in a row. And so there's no, and then even the defense now kind of got exposed, being able to, teams being able to run on them. And I just think like eventually the it's either they're gonna put it together, or we're gonna get the same team we saw from 2 years ago where they just are like, hey, we're not gonna change anything about us, and we're gonna go down with the ship. And so it just feels like the talent is there to be able to, like, hey, if we need to reach for it, let's go and get it. And I just the thing is with the Chargers, they're so beat up. That offensive line is still really bad. They did That's another one where, talk about, just being, hard headed and not changing their center, not changing things around on that offensive line. I know Charger fans are upset because they just refuse to change dudes in that offensive line too. So I I'm with you. It just feels like if you putting Herbert out there, it just tells you how desperate things are right now, that the Chargers are, because they know that that schedule down the stretch is hard, and they know they need wins. And so if Herbert's out there, that just tells me that they're super desperate for wins because they know that the rest of the way is tough. If you go with Trey Lance, and it tells you, hey, we like what we have in this team, and we feel okay with Trey Lance out there. So that to me is the narrative. But I'm with you. I'm going with the Eagles here at -3. Let me have we have a couple more here. Delbert says, at the general statement for this time of the season, which teams will lose first and jeopardize their playoff chances down to the wire. Gotta love it. So that's to the point. Like, at what point are you? Hey, do we go all in here with Herbert, or do we jeopardize the rest of our season? And then Gerardo says the Eagles offense is trash. I'm sure Mincher can figure out a way to stop them. I think this game is going to go on the Chargers offense. So, yeah, there you go.
We'll see. I don't
Let's
know. I just think the one hand thing is going to be an issue, but we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I think, we'll talk more about it on Monday. Whether it's the post game show or with What's Up Bulls, but I'm intrigued by this game. It'll be interesting. These are two teams that really need a win in this game, and so uh, we're gonna find out where both of them are come Monday night. All right, Gilbert. Let's get to our Super Dog contest. Week 14 pick. Gilbert, you killed it last week with that uh Bears in a good way. I mean, you did really well. You got your Super Dog contest pick. You went 4-1 on your best bet. So as you talked about it in your introduction here of the show. You did really well. What do you got for us this week? And if you want to explain for people what we do here with our Super Dog contest, week 14 pick.
Yeah, we bet on an underdog that is getting spotted at least 4.5 points or more. We tend to go over that, like 5.5 and above. That's kind of the okay, look yourself in the mirror line. Even though these are all dogs, like it's okay, but we just haven't been going 4.5. We go over that. Last
Yep.
week I got the Bears who were getting spot 6.5 points, and they won outright. So that was 10 points for me. If they cover, it's 5 points. If it's a push, you get 1 point. So yeah, the dogs were barking last week for me, and they came through, which is good because I usually go with the teams with the plus sign. So that paid off for me in a big way here. And yeah, let's get to it here, and I'll be quick with mine. Uh, yeah, for my super dog this week, I'm going with the Bengals plus 5.5 versus the Buffalo Bills here. I just can't trust the Bills off of one game. I know they beat up on the Steelers, but what does that mean? This team, I'm not forgetting how they got beat up by Houston. I'm not forgetting how they lost to Miami and couldn't beat Miami into the fourth quarter of the first game, and they couldn't cover in that game. Is what I was trying to say. So to me, like, and I'll shout out my colleague Connor Orr for this one. I think the Buffalo Bills have been one of the most disappointing teams in football because this is their year. This is set up for them to be the experienced team. But you're letting Denver up top. You're letting New England within your own division to be up top. You already lost that team. Kansas City is nowhere to be found. Lamar Jackson's not the same quarterback this year. And they also didn't have a tough schedule. That's what you get for playing in the AFC East. You're supposed to get a cupcake, and they're not
Hmm.
winning these games. So to me, I could definitely see how everybody's back on the Bills because they beat the Steelers. But to me, I was impressed with Joe Burrow. I know he was a little shaky in the first half, but that's because he didn't have T. Higgins and had to rely more on his young receivers who weren't on the same page. And I'm like, this guy came to play right away. And then the second half took over. So to me, maybe the Bills don't. Maybe the Bills win and the Bengals don't win. But I could see a close game here. Two good quarterbacks going at it. Why not? Getting plus 5.5 Bengals.
Yeah, we're gonna be on opposite side on this game. I'll talk about it when I get to my best bets here. I'll keep it quick with mine, Gilbert. We talked about it earlier. I like the Bears in this, so I'm gonna make it my super dog this week. I'm the lone wolf on our picks. Usually, when one of us goes with a lone wolf, we usually do well with our picks. So I'm gonna write the Bears here. I feel like I already talked about why, and so it was just an easy. I thought you were gonna take them here, but I understand you. You're gonna have them as one of your best bets. So I like where we're at here, but at least we agree on this one, which kind of I'm like, man, maybe it's a bad thing that we both agree. We usually do better when we're on the opposite side of things. So yeah.
Well, if it makes you
And
feel bad, I don't think they win this game, and that's why I couldn't put them in
yeah,
my. Like, I want to get greedy. I think the Bengals could
yeah.
beat the Bills.
Hey, especially after the week you had last week, and talking about that, now you're at 146 points to my 137. I mean, you went 4-1, plus you picked up those 10 points on that super dog. So I think you cleared 23 points last week because
Freaking
of it.
Browns!
So
I could have been perfect.
that's crazy, man. Like that's how this game can flip. And we have what, a couple weeks left, so it's gonna go down to the wire to see. Last year I was able to beat you, but yeah, this one it's gonna be close till the end, Gilbert. So
Yep.
let's get to our betting locks of the week here. Let's start off with your best bets for week 14. What do you got for us, Gilbert?
Yeah, and just for the game, how we're playing here, the
Yes.
point scale, it's 5 points for the first one, 4 points for the next, 3 points, and so on. So for my 5 pointer, I already talked about this one. It seems like easy money, and I checked to see if it's something wrong here, any red flags that I should be looking at. No, the coast is clear. Go Texans plus 3.5 versus the Chiefs. I'm taking them. I don't care.
Okay, number 4.
This one is a sneaky play. I think the Vikings are just really bad. They can't figure out their quarterback situation. I like the way the Commanders show hard against Bo Nix and those Broncos. People like the Broncos here, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Mariota, I think it was decent enough. I think they'll keep it close here. Commanders plus 2.5. This Kevin O'Connell, coaching wizard thing you people have been waiting for. He's gonna get it. He's gonna figure it out. It's not happening this year. So give me the Commanders.
3.
Yeah, this one I already touched on. I think the Lions -3, mostly because everybody's on the Cowboys. I'm gonna go the other way.
Okay. Number 2.
This one I really like because I don't like Kirk Cousins at all. There might not be no Drake London, like I mentioned in that Jets Falcons game. It's pretty much 1 against 11. Bijan's doing all the work, and now you're playing it like this is not the Jets. This is the Seahawks here. So I'm expecting like a 30-point beatdown or maybe like 20. I don't know. Seahawks -7 here.
Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent from this matchup because I have both of them in my wins. So I'm like, whoever wins this game, I get a win. So I'm good there. All right, you're number 1.
Yeah. So I couldn't find another bet I really liked, and like I mentioned, I do like the number. Like if it would have been -5.5 Packers, I probably would have taken the Packers here, but I don't like to have that many minuses in my top five. So it's +6.5. Give me the Bears here for 1 point. I'm not that confident in it. You're much confident in that one, but I'll take them here for the points.
Yeah, and we'll get to Brian's question there. I wanna get to it. Let me go quick here with my 5 bets. I like the Bills. And I know what you said that they're the one of the most disappointing teams. You're right. But I feel like they finally found something, Gilbert. Like, I know there's been talk about Brady perhaps losing his job, the offensive coordinator there, just because we saw what happened a couple years ago with the former offensive coordinator there. But it seems like they find the running game. Like if you're able, like, and what's crazy is that they refuse to. They didn't want to pay. Is it Cooks or Cook? Is it Cook?
James Cook, yeah.
James Cook. They didn't want to pay him at the beginning or of the offseason. They finally ended up paying him. And it's honestly been like when they commit to James Cook and running the ball, which they did against the Steelers, they win games. It's like it's either Allen or Cooks. And I just feels like you need to run the ball. And if you're able, you finally found your identity for this season, then stick to it and you can beat the Bengals here. And so I'm gonna keep rolling. They got me the 5 points last week, so I'm that kind of person where if you show me that you're finally figured something out, then I'm gonna roll with you, especially when it comes to the
It's the
betting
thing with
angle
that,
of
Vic,
this.
is like they always go back and forth. Josh Allen
Yes,
hero, run the football. Josh Allen hero, run the football. They have not figured out what they want to do. There's no commitment to it, and I'm not gonna fall
yeah,
for 1 week. So I get the Bengals are the Bengals and they suck,
yep,
but I just like the points there a lot. It's just this Bills team. There's a reason why they can't get over the hump, and they just don't have the coaching. It's kind of plain
yeah.
and simple sometimes, But I get it here. We'll be different here.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going here with the Eagles -3. I really like I said, I don't understand why this line isn't bigger than this. So you're giving me 3 points here against the Chargers. Like I said, I think it's going to be Trey Lance, but I could be wrong. Even if it's Herbert, I just think the Eagles, like, they have the talent. They're the most talented team in the league. The coaching just isn't there right now. But like I said, I think the narrative, everybody's gonna jump off the bandwagon here with the Eagles. So I'm gonna take the Eagles here. My number 2 is the Texans here is +3.5. We already talked about why we like the Texans in this game. My number 2 is the Browns 4.5. The Titans are just done. Like, they packed it in. They want to get the number 1 pick. They want to trade that number 1 pick to get even more picks. So continue to tank here if you're the Titans. And then the Browns, they just need something. They wanna get some wins for Kevin Stefanski so he doesn't get fired. So I like them at home. They play much better. And then my number 1, I'm taking a chance here with the Jaguars at +1.5 here against the Colts. I know they've been up and down, but it just feels like they might have found something. Even with Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball away here, having 3 interceptions against the Cardinals, he comes back and he plays well against the Titans last week. I just feel like they're gonna make the playoffs. I know nobody wants to see them in the playoffs, but at this point, that's just what it's looking like, Gilbert. I don't know if you have any of those. If you have any
Yeah.
comments on any of those before we move
Honestly,
on.
I don't like the Browns one because the Browns ones should not be a favorite against anybody like that. But like honestly, if it wasn't, if I was looking at this blindly and I didn't see the team, and I'm like, it would if it was Any other team besides Tennessee, I would have taken the other team because you cannot lay four and a
Yep,
half against
I'm
for
with you.
Cleveland. But Tennessee's that bad, so I can't knock you for that.
Yeah. And then to the question here, I would I'm sure you agree with this. Who is the upset of the week, gentlemen? Straight up, it's the Texans, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Again, I sometimes it's if it's easy money and there's something fishy, you're gonna get burned. But I feel like I checked enough to know this team is not that good. Kansas City, that is.
Yeah, and then he says for him, his sleeper is
Hey,
Cincinnati this week. So there you go. He's with
yeah,
you on that
last year they
one.
were 4-8 and they won out. They didn't make the playoffs, but they won out. So maybe they do the same thing here where they miss the playoffs again.
Yep. All right, let's get to our quick hitters. But before we do that, I gotta let the people know which teams are on a bye week. Especially, I know there's a lot of talk this week with bye weeks, especially in week 14, as you're trying to get it, especially when it comes to fantasy teams. The Patriots, the Giants, the Panthers, and the 49ers are on a bye. Make sure you have you made plans to pick up some players in the wire here because there's a lot of good players out there who are going to be on a bye this week.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my pet peeves of having the final week of the regular season in fantasy football have bye weeks. 4 teams on a bye week. So let's get that
Yeah.
together.
Especially when you didn't have any bye any teams on a bye in week 13. I didn't
Yeah.
understand that, but I know it's Thanksgiving weekend and you need to make sure you have as many games as possible to take advantage of all the eyeballs that you're going to have during that week. All right, Gilbert, let's go to our quick hitters real quick. Miami Dolphins at the New York Giants. Who do you got here?
This is a tough one. 2 teams that were bad or not, are now playing better. Mike McDaniel, Aaron Glenn, they have something. So I'll just take the home team. Give me the Jets plus 2.5.
All right. I would take the Jets at home as well. Uh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are 6-point favorites. The over under here is 42 and a half.
Yeah, I can't believe it's gotten to the point where I'm looking at the Steelers like the Titans or how I used to look at the Jaguars. I want no part of them. Like I like the number for Pittsburgh, I really do, because Baltimore has not been good for a while. Like the only time they've been good since Lamar came back was the second half in Miami. That's it. But I can't get behind Pittsburgh, so stay away game for sure. But I'll take Baltimore here.
I'm gonna go with the Ravens here. I forgot to tell you a story yesterday. So we went to. I'll be quick here. We went to Costco, and then somebody, one of the workers there on the self checkout, was looking at the at my hat. I had my hat. I always wear my hat when I'm out. And then Megan was like, "Yeah, it's a podcast. You should check it out. They talk all sports." And then like for the rest of the time, he just kept coming over, and he's like, "Yeah, man, Tomlin sucks." Like he's hasn't been good for a long time. He's a Steelers fan. He is done with Tomlin. He's like everybody keeps saying that he keeps all the winning all these games and stuff like that, but like we're done with him and just yeah, like Steeler fans are done with
Kind of
Tomlin.
bad.
So it just goes to show he like it was a time where like somebody was trying to ask for help and he kept coming over and he's like kept telling me about the Steelers and I'm like I'm with you, man. He's like, can you believe we have the most expensive defense? And I'm like, yeah, I know. I get it. So I wanted to share that. I forgot to bring that up yesterday. All right, Gilbert. New Orleans Saints at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucks are 8.5-point
Ooh,
favorites. The over under here is 42 and a half.
this is a high number. I know the Bucks are better now or healthier, but the Saints stink. I don't know why I'm doing this. Give me the Saints. I just like the number for them.
Man, they cost me a win last week. The Saints did with all their crap at the end there, and I'm just staying away from this game. But I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game, though.
Yeah, for
Last
sure.
game of the week, the most boring game out there is the Broncos at the Raiders. The Broncos are 7.5-point favorites. The over under here is 40 and a half.
Yeah, I always ask the odds makers, what's the liability game of the week? What's the one you're going to be sweating? The one that you feel like the public's gonna, just take all your money. And he said this one, like, and it's gotten to the
Yeah.
point where Raider fans who tend to support are out. Like they're done with this team. They're not going to support. It's all Denver money. And he said, I have no faith in the Raiders to cover this line here. We're probably going to lose a bunch of money on this game. So yeah, I'll. It's just Denver is hard to cover to this big line, especially what they just did to Washington. But It's the Raiders. Give me Denver here. It's a really high number. I'd rather stay away, but just for the sake of picking something, I'll go Denver.
I'm with you on Denver, but Fernando did say that he thinks the Raiders are beating the Broncos in this game. So I want to
Yeah.
make
Last
sure
time
we
he
put
said
it
I'll
out
keep it
there.
close, and he was right. So maybe he's right here again.
Yeah, and he's been hitting on a lot of his. Even though he's not on the show here, he has mentioned some of those upsets. So keep an eye on this one. If it's an upset here by the Raiders, we got to give Fernando uh, his due here. That's a good question. Shula to Buffalo. Do you see that, Chris Shula? Perhaps
No,
if they
because Josh Allen has been with a defensive-minded coach and Sean McDermott, and they have not gotten the job done. They're gonna go offense all day for sure.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about this. I do want to, we'll talk about some of the candidates out there. From what I'm hearing, it's kind of like the quarterbacks coming out of college this year. There's not a lot of good coaching candidates out there, so it'll be interesting if we don't have as many firings as we think they will. But honestly, like the way it's been going, I think there's been an average of at least 8 this decade. So yeah, just something to keep an eye on, Gilbert. But that is for another day. That takes care of all the games, Gilbert. Yeah, like great job here with we'll keep an eye on some of these games. I know the Bears and Packers is a big one, but I think for week 14 we got a good games, and hopefully we can keep going. I mean, Thanksgiving was probably the best week of football we've had so far. So especially with you and your success that you had last week, maybe we see more dogs barking out there.
Yeah, hopefully there was some good competitive games, and that's something we've been waiting for the NFL. But all right, time to get going here. I appreciate everybody joining the show here. We haven't been doing it live, and now I'm glad that we're doing it live because we saw all these comments here. So thank you for joining us. Uh, and then Angel said, if Fernando hits on the Raiders, you better have his ass on the next show. And hopefully he has what's up bolts for you this week. I don't know when that is, but stay locked in for House of Horns in about 10 minutes here. So Rams against Cardinals. So we'll talk about that. But thank you for joining the show here, and check out everything we're doing on Compass on the Beat. We got a bunch of videos uploading from the interview with Eric D. Williams. So check that out. So yeah, no update on what's up, Bo to Angel. He pretty much said he's gonna try to get Eric on the show and do something. So I would think maybe Thursday, but we'll try to find out. But
We will
time
be
to get going
on.
here.
Yeah, we will be on post game show. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that update we can
Yeah,
tell you.
we'll do like a post game show, but I don't know about a preview. But Fernando sounded like he's going to commit to it. It's also he has time. It's a Monday Night Football game, so let's get out of here. See some people in a bit for House of Horns. Check out everything we're doing at Copas on the Beat. Time to get going. Nos vamos, pues, vámonos.